we've done some wholesaling. We've executed a fix and flip. We've executed a value add BRRRS refinance. So we got a rental in our portfolio. Now how do we pour gasoline on this thing and supercharge everything that we're already doing, or maybe start to look at other sources of income streams? Hello and welcome to the FasterFreedom Show. My name is Lucas.
And I am Sam.
Wait, you're not Sam.
I am not.
Yeah.
I'm Matt.
You're Matt, man. I almost said I am Sam because he goes first every time, and then I say I am Lucas. But anyway, Sam's on the beach on vacation this week. We got our amazing leader of FasterFreedom in the house today.
Yeah.
Matt C. You've been a guest on here.
Probably 3 or 4 times
And I
now.
wouldn't even say a guest, co-host on here
cohort.
at least 3 or 4 times. So love to have you on here. We are building off an episode that we did last week. So this is episode 193, and the topic is if you were forced to start over, what we would do. So we have all the knowledge we have now, but we have no reputation, no assets, no money, and then we get dropped into another market and we have to build back up something that we have here, or maybe not.
Yeah.
So figure out the best way to make some money, build some wealth, and have some fun along the way. Last week we talked about a little bit about wholesalers, a little bit about active income versus building wealth, and how we would kind of balance that, and how we did it a little backwards, in real life.
Yeah.
And focused on building wealth first. I think this time, we get dropped in a market, man, I'm not going to get a job. Probably.
Right.
So we need to go get some income first, right? So those higher, quicker income stuff like wholesaling and fixing, flipping, I think we would incorporate much sooner than we did when we had a W-2 job to rely on in the past. So this episode, we're going to focus on, the importance of building our reputation and just spreading our message, establishing a core focus, how we would approach lenders differently than we did in the past with the knowledge that we know now, get into more tactical stuff like rehabbing, long-term financing, and then, scaling. The last part of the BRRRS.
For sure.
How would we scale to a point where we're not only getting by, but starting to have some discretionary income? Because that would probably not be a thing for a while.
Yeah. I'm in for it.
All right, so let's get it kicked off with, we talked a little bit about reputation and literally no one knowing us. So in the importance of having a reputation in a particular local market in general, and then figuring out a way to scale that nationally, I think is super huge, both from getting deals and just people knowing you. Like a lot of good stuff happens when you got good connections, right?
Yep.
So I want to talk about just continuing to build that reputation and how social media can multiply that. And so I would get on social media way sooner than I did now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I honestly think it's been like an opportunity that's probably come up or at least is being taken advantage of by real estate investors probably the last 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think some of it's aged out of people's comfortable zone where they're like, no, not for me. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, go to real estate meetups, do all this stuff. But you have so much more opportunity. You got the person you went to high school with that you knew 10 years ago that is doing X, Y, and Z that is maybe they're your next private lender.
Yeah,
maybe
you never know.
They have a relative that has a house that needs to be sold for whatever reason. So, there's just so much reach on social media.
Yeah. And especially starting in a new market, you would have to I don't know what you would have to do, but having all your friends in your old market would not be very beneficial for most of the stuff that you're doing in this new market that you have no idea what's going on. So you'd almost have to start a new Facebook page and just build up your local friend list.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
Or just add to it, whatever.
Yeah, maybe an LLC page.
Yeah, like a business page or something. But anyway, just start sharing your journey. And Sam and I talked about this part 1 of this episode is he's like, why don't you just sell me half of the real estate so you have nothing anymore and just document your journey growing back up. I was like, that's a great idea. I don't know if it's worth 25 million, but I think it would be fun to document. People love seeing the story of people just getting started and going through struggles and figuring out a way to get through that in their first rehab project. It's a lot less relatable, I would say, now, what we do and the type of business that we're growing to what it would be when you first get started.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Another thing that we talked about, Matt, is when you're starting from scratch, there's so many different distractions, shiny object, and directions you could take your journey. And you mentioned the importance of establishing a core focus.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And maybe what the heck your core focus might be in a new market just getting started?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of legwork like leading up to a core focus. I don't think you want to like completely dive in blind and just say, this is what I'm going to do. So I think it takes a level of research. It takes a level of networking, going to those local real estate meetups, meeting with people, looking at local neighborhoods, kind of what the opportunities actually are available in that spot. So if we're talking about a new market, like learn it first, but find something you're comfortable with and find something you're passionate about that can produce a return, right? So core focus to me is really just narrowing down the location, the type of property. If we're talking single families, or you're looking at multifamily apartments, but just get really specific, because I feel like when you specify what your goal is and what your intent is in anything in life, like it's tenfold of the opportunities that will come your way. Gives you the opportunity to network with wholesalers and be like, hi, my name is Matt.
Hi, Matt.
I'm interested in 2 1s and this, 3 zip codes, ARV this, purchase price this. So it just gives them a very like key, like, oh, I found a house. This is in Matt's wheelhouse. So, I don't know. I just think being specific is super important.
I love that. All right. Talked a little bit about like lender avatars last time on part 1, and also like where to find those people. Let's dig in deep a little bit to our exact approach to lenders right now. People that have money, capital partners, whatever the heck you want to call them.
Yeah.
And specifically, let's talk about the front end, because we're going to go a little bit in chronological order through front end, rehab, back end. So let's talk the front end specifically with private lenders and hard money lenders, and how you would approach them, knowing what you know, not like super big into the actual real estate game, but you teach this shit for a living practically. So you have a lot of good insight. So knowing what you know now, but not having any assets, how would you go to a hard money lender company first? Let's talk about hard money lender company first.
Yeah, I mean, confidence is going to run true in all of these responses.
Which you'll have, because you have the knowledge you have now.
That is it. So yeah, I mean, baseline knowledge, again, I think everything starts with the knowledge base. Understand exactly what their role is in the process, but approach it with confidence. So hard money lenders specifically, do the research, bid it out. These people are in business to help you acquire money, to acquire properties, and create that win-win-win, right, for everybody. So go in with confidence, knowing that they are in business to help you. Don't be afraid. I think there's a lot of money fear out there. So go into it with confidence. Be prepared. I think preparation is super important. I think when you go in with a game plan, go in with a small credibility packet of, hey, this is when my LLC was formed, this is what I've done to date, this is what I'm looking for, here's the subject property, and kind of have those things where you're almost educating them, so then they can in turn educate you of what products and services they have to provide is super important. So confidence and like education on both internal and external for the whatever hard money lender you're going towards.
Love that. So we'll talk about rehabbing, then we'll get into rentals a little bit after that. So when I think of rehabbing, and I think back on our first properties that we rehabbed, I think of all the mistakes that we made.
Yeah, you don't want to refer them out, but like to a degree you do, because you want to kind of stay top of mind. So like you're not gonna, maybe you don't have a project that's keeping them busy 100% of the time. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna share like your contact information with my buddy Lucas. He has a project coming up. You're my guy. I don't want you to go anywhere, but I want to keep you happy and make sure that you're continuing to thrive while we're working on our next deal. So.
I love that. And not a mistake that we made, but knowing what we know now, like we did a lot of the work ourselves up front, which just takes a lot of damn time and energy. So we already know a lot of the process and how to rehab a house for the most part from a high level. So we don't need to go through that anymore.
Right.
So I would outsource directly right off the jump and just be what I call either a general contractor or a project manager overseeing the project and making sure your contractors are on time and on budget. Then let's talk about holding on to some of these rentals, holding on to some of these things that we're rehabbing. We're wholesaling for active income. We got some fix and flips. Now we want to pick off 1 or 2 to start building our wealth and think a little bigger and build that asset balance sheet up more. So in order to do that, you got the front money lined up, you got the rehab money lined up, which we didn't talk about much, but your private lender or your hard money company can fund your rehab costs as well. And now we got to go into refinance, and it was a huge hurdle for us when we first got started.
A lot of no's,
about 20. About 20 no's. And our first house, we rehabbed it. In the middle of the rehab, we found the BRRRS strategy. And so we kind of pivoted in the middle of the rehab, like, shit, let's refinance this thing. And we were scrambling. So instead of selling it, we looked to refinance. I was calling Bank of America, US Bank, like, hey, have you guys heard of the BRRRS strategy?
Chase.
And they're like, what are you talking about? So most larger lenders don't even understand it. Some key relationships with local banks that love that product, that rental investment, single family rental product, are out there in every market.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button, comment with something you learned, and make sure to subscribe to this channel. We give away more free advice on how to create wealth based on things we actually do every single day than any other channel on YouTube. Make sure to share this with a friend, because our mission is to inspire you to think differently about freedom.